And breath is everything. Breath changes our chemical state. It changes our thought processes. It gives us space. Every time we take a deep breath, there's a little bit of space right there. And we're consciously aware of ourselves taking a breath. It gives us just that little pause in the thoughts that are constantly going through the brain. It gives us a little bit of pause when we feel the lungs fill up with air. It gives us a little bit of pause to the emotions that maybe we were dwelling on before. And if we can do that, that gives a pause in the chemical addictions to these emotions that are not serving us or making us dense. So what we're doing is looking for any way that we can break the cycle.
There you go. Yes, that is what I'm hearing you say, because I was also going to say, touch on, so often we live out of the subconscious. People are like, well, how do I access my subconscious? I don't know how to do that. But what I just heard you say is we get in the subconscious loop, and you're saying just taking a breath will break that cycle. And then there's that choice of, are we coming present? Are we going back into the loop?
Yes. Everything is a cycle because we're so codependent on our past. Our past stories, how we felt in the past, what we've identified in the past. And we bring that forward time and time again, and our cells get chemically addicted to how they have always felt. So even if it's something that doesn't feel good, the chemicals that are released from that emotion, even when we're not thinking about that emotion, or even when we're not consciously feeling that emotion, it's still playing out in the background. That's what our subconscious is. It's just this programmed state from our past experiences. So a lot of people, when they think about reprogramming the subconscious, they're always talking about like the mind up here, but the subconscious is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to break the cycle. How can we break the cycle? We do it through connecting with the earth, because we're moving energy and we're remembering where we came from. We do it through consciously choosing to consume ourselves through the foods that we're eating. Why? Because that does change our chemical state. It changes our thought processes. So if we start just saying, okay, I'm self-consuming. I don't quite know what that means, but every day I'm going to work towards it just a little bit. And we take a breath. When we let it fill our lungs up and we can feel that, again, it's just giving us pause from the past. It's giving us pause from past identities. It's giving us pause. And the more pauses we create throughout our day, we create more and more opportunities for us to change our perspective, for us to change our perspective on how we see ourselves, how we connect with ourselves, how we connect with the earth and other people. Because really, to change our subconscious mind, we have to change our perspective. Perspective is just the way that we see things. It's our opinion on things. It's our stories about things. So every little pause gives us the opportunity to create space, to shift our perspective into something that brings us more light, into something that allows us to consume ourselves over and over and over again. So it's a practice of perspective shift.
That's beautiful. And what I saw too, when you were talking about breaking the cycle, like I saw this almost ring, and it was paper, but every time we break the cycle, we almost cut a snip in it. So pretty soon it just falls apart, and that cycle gets broken one by one, just by, like you said, just a pause clips that cycle, is the way I was seeing it in my head.
We've made it seem really hard. It doesn't have to be that hard. So just like right now, I wrote an email a while back. I don't know if you read it. I made it into a post too, but I got so many questions, DMs about it, because people weren't quite able to understand. But I was working with a person on the concept of time. And so, we were just talking about subconscious and perspective shift. And we can, in every now moment, we have infinite possibilities to create a perspective shift or experience a different emotion. That seems super overwhelming when we just talk about it. And we're like, well, how do I even access that? Because this is what I'm feeling right now. So Archangel Metatron came in and he showed like this lifetime timeline, and our minds perceiving it as this linear time. And at any given point on that timeline, like we're talking right now, so there's this space, there's a bubble on our timeline that, and then this bubble, like this is your now moment. I want you to step into the bubble. And when you step into that bubble, all you see is space. All you see is unprogrammed particles of energy. It looks like stars in the black sky. It's space, this point in time right now. What you choose to bring through this space is completely up to you, and you're in charge. So you can step into that space, step into that bubble mentally at any point in time as a way to pause, break the cycle, and access a different perspective shift.
And to me, that you just took it up a whole other notch, because when you asked me to step into the bubble and I did, it was like time stopped. Not only did we snip the cycle, but time stopped. And I recognized just in that little tiny moment, I'm not even sure what to do with it, but it's like, oh, that I can go in anywhere from here. There is, in other words, it detached me from my past. Yeah. So that, like you said, you step in and you're completely free of time then to make that next choice of possibility. That's powerful.
Can you feel that in your heart? Like, as we're talking about, as we did it, I just felt my heart like,
I'm like, oh my God, this is, it's so, like you said, it's not complicated. Just when you invited me into that space and through your voice, the frequency of your voice, the words that you used, I felt it. Yeah. And, like once we feel it, we're like, oh, I can do that. I can go there. And I love how you're just building, like you're really building this little, it's just a breath. And then you take it to a whole nother notch. And then we step outside of time. And then we just break the cycle. Like it's just these little tiny steps, but it's quantum. It's massive.
It is quantum. But again, it doesn't have to be hard. And our brains are brilliant at bookmarking things. We think about like, we've bookmarked all the nasty crap we've ever been through real well. I mean, like we can like go back in a second and think about, oh, that made me feel like crap. So we can bookmark things like this bubble that you just stepped into. This is now bookmarked, and you can go into it at any point in time in any now moment and access it. Ever since he showed me that, I've been practicing it a lot throughout my day, and it has shifted things tremendously. I played with it with my kids. I played with it with money. Something really interesting with money. I was like, okay, well, so I played with the concept and I stepped into it, and I just saw all of this money like flying at my face, basically in this bubble. I was like, oh, this is so fun. I stepped out and I looked at my phone dinged because I took it off of silent, and $3,300 just showed up from someone on PayPal. So it's infinite in its possibilities of what we can do, because it's unprogrammed particles of energy that we have access to every moment of every day, if we can step into that bubble.
Unprogrammed possibilities that we have access to every day. Wow.
Every day.
And we get to program those.
We get to program it.
I mean, that's self-consumption, right? Yeah. Another way to look at it.
It's total self-consumption. When we're doing that, we're creating an internal unified voice. We've been speaking to the energy field. We've been speaking to each other. A part of the reason why those with differences in autism one-on-one away so much is because when one person walks up to them, they're hearing and feeling a million different conversations from this one person. Because each energy center is telling them something different. The person's mind is saying something different than what's coming out of the mouth. The person's gut is giving off a different vibration than what they're feeling if someone lays a hand on them. Everything is giving off a different frequency and creating a little bit of chaos in the field. So with my son, if he's around someone that has a more unified voice, and the person doesn't have to be the most amazing person on the planet, like some, master yogi or whatever, like, but as long as they are calm and collected and have a fairly unified voice, he's all in. He'll talk to them all day. He'll be around them all day. But if a person comes to them with such conflicting information going on, then he has a difficult time. It's too much. It's overwhelming. He's just going to take off. Peace out. Leave me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So when we create this powerful unified voice through self-consumption, our manifestation abilities in the energy field and our availability to access the quantum field amplifies a million times over. Our availability to create change on this planet, our ripple effect, is so much bigger. It's infinite in its possibilities because we are powerful creators already.
Right.
But we have been distracting and causing chaos instead of creating a unified voice within our own field, out to the field over and over again. So what I mean by that is, maybe you have this deep desire, you come to your why, and you're like, oh, that feels so good. Yeah, I'm source energy. I want to create that. So I'm vibrating this beautiful energy out to the field, but my gut's not on board. So my gut comes back and it's vibrating something else. Well, those two vibrations basically are going to cancel each other out in the energy field. So what we have created or desiring to come into fruition, we end up destroying before it ever comes into our reality.
And we can't blame other people because it's internal.
Yes.
Yeah.